I have been a podcaster for 12 years. I just actually received an honor from Pod Ranker as the number 4 podcast for Gen X women. But this morning, I couldn't find my record button. So I am super happy to have my guest, Heather Vickery, here today to talk about gratitude journals.
It's not funny. Gratitude journals aren't funny, but we're going to laugh through this entire conversation.
We're going to laugh through it. So I'm Kandas Rodarte. This is Gratitude Geek. Heather, tell the audience what they need to know about you.
Hey, folks. Kandas, thanks for having me. I was so excited. I can't believe I haven't done your show yet. That's kind of crazy.
I know. We've known each other. Well, I feel like we've known each other for like 20 years, but we haven't.
I know. I think it's only been like 2, but it feels like 20. I don't know. Being American for the last 2 years has felt like 20 years. Is that why? I don't know. This is why you need a gratitude journal, people. I'm just saying, or at least a gratitude practice. My name is Heather Vickery. I'm a transformation coach. And so what I do is I help people go from pressure-filled lives to pleasurable ones so that you can be more successful with ease, carry more, and feel like you're holding less. And I do that mainly through things like positive psychology, gratitude journals, not just journals, but whatever, positive psychology, human design, and then NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, subconscious reprogramming, hypnotherapy, time techniques, EFT tapping, things like that. I just believe, I don't just believe, I know for a fact that when we show up in the world from a place of joy and ease and inner peace, we show up differently, we engage differently, and we have a better response. And so we're just flipping everything on its head. And instead of thinking we need to earn that, I help people lead with it.
As I was listening to you talk, I'm like, God, Heather is so woo.
I'm so woo. I hope you're good with that. I'm the wooest of woos. Yeah.
And I'm a pragmatic woo.
I'm a pragmatic woo.
I was telling someone yesterday or the day before, it's been one of those weeks, y'all. So I was telling somebody recently that I believe in reincarnation because I just believe that there's only a limited number of souls. And again, your beliefs are your beliefs, my beliefs are my beliefs. You don't need to tell me mine are wrong and I don't need to tell you yours are wrong. We can all believe whatever we want and everybody can get along with each other, right? But I just believe that we have a limited number of souls, that there can only be a limited number of souls and that we just, get reincarnated. Yeah. That's just my belief, right?
Okay.
And you don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you, right? So, I guess I am a little woo because
you're woo. Come on. So my work is really the intersection of where science meets spirituality, from positive psychology, which is actually a scientific certification, to NLP, which is a neuroscience certification, right? Like a lot of these concepts we used to think were woo-woo spiritual, and now we're getting these scientific receipts. Like actually, this shit is backed up. So I'm really at the intersection of that. But I also, with my whole heart, believe that things like, but there's science behind this too, things like surrendering, trusting that like, if you submit to be a guest on a podcast and you really want to be a guest on that podcast, like you submit to it and then you walk away and you don't put stressful energy into, am I going to get accepted or am I not or whatever? Like shit works better when we don't hold on tight to it. And there's actually some pretty solid quantum science behind that, right? Because we start to put negative energy into something we desire, which chokes it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm looking at the necklace. It's hanging off of the print behind me.
Yeah. Here. I can't see it because I got 51-year-old eyes, but.
Oh, well, I'm older than you.
Ooh, baby. That doesn't happen to me often anymore. Quite frankly, I'm almost always the oldest in the room.
It's really strange forever. I was always the youngest person in the room, and then suddenly I'm the oldest person in the room.
Yeah.
We have a group that we belong to, and I always feel like I'm so old in that room.
Me too. Wait, so tell me about the necklace.
Okay,
ADHD,
so
yes?
Joshua Bloom.
Both of us.
Joshua Bloom is a quantum physicist, but he's also very woo.
Yeah, and he has to be a quantum physicist.
Yes, and he created this necklace to keep the negative entities away.
I love it. I want one. How do I get one?
and I'll hook you up with his website.
Okay, thank you.
I'll put a link to our interview in the show notes, and I'll give the link to
Okay.
his website in the show notes. Because if you're gonna call out somebody, you might as well, share their stuff, right? So anyway, I I don't know if I believe this shit works. I don't.
But it
But
can't hurt
it
anything.
is hanging there
Yeah.
behind me,
Yeah.
right? In my office,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Here's the thing for me. So reincarnation is fascinating. I have actually read several books with scientists who show like people who have been reincarnated, usually children, quite frankly. It's parents who are reporting on their children. I don't know. I don't know that I believe there's a certain number of souls. I'm going to think about that a lot for the rest of the day. I'm sure I am. Here's what I know. I believe in science too much to think that anything is absolute.
Yeah.
Everything is always changing.
Mhm.
So I think there are a lot of possibilities. And so I
Mhm.
stay open and I stay flexible and I'm with you. Like, you do you. If it makes you feel good and it allows you to have a foundation of being a good person that contributes to the world and builds community and lifts people up, go do it.
Yeah.
I don't care. And on top of that, and I talk about this with gratitude all the time. Like, it works. It's scientifically proven to work. However, you don't even have to believe me to try it because it will work. But I'm a big fan of the placebo effect.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
If it works for you, it works. What
Yeah.
difference does it make?
Yeah. I agree with you completely. If the placebo effect is what's making it work, then
I don't
it's
care.
still working,
It's
right?
still working.
It's still working. So I kind of feel funny asking you about this since our whole episode is basically around gratitude journaling and gratitude practices. But how do you weave gratitude into your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we joked, you said, "Oh, let's talk about gratitude journals because I don't journal." And I said, "Neither do I."
However, you have published a beautiful gratitude
I
journal.
have published 2 and they are beautiful and I love them and I'm a big fan of them. And we will get into that. Gratitude for me. So when I was in the process, this was 13, 14 years ago now, of coming out of the closet and getting a divorce after a decade of marriage and 4 kids and closing one successful business and starting another one, um, I was seeking in a really big way. And I found positive psychology in that process. And this is always the way that I nurture myself, and I learn something for me to develop myself, and then I go, "Oh, I can use that in my business," every time. I never go into it thinking, "I need to know this so I can be better at my job." I always go, "Oh, I wanna be a better me," and then I use it. And so positive psychology, and, think about Martin Seligman, he's the father of positive psychology, he's incredible. He's written some amazing books. The science behind it is very, very clear. So it's not toxic. You admit the truth. Like, lots of things can be true at once. This is not like positive at all costs because that's stupid. Like, you're a human being with
Yeah.
real emotions. But it is about the fact that believing everything is temporary, right? What is right now won't be later, good or bad, right?
I hope so.
So you're not stuck, right? So believing hope is possible is a core foundation of positive psychology. And what they've been able to prove is that through a regular gratitude practice, you increase overall happiness, joy, and well being while decreasing stress, anxiety, and depression. And they have actually proven it with MRIs. So if you take a person who does not have a gratitude practice and you do an MRI, and then they start listing 3 to 5 things they're grateful for and why, and that's important every day for 3 months, and you go back and do another MRI, you can see the neurological shift.
Interesting.
So it's the same science for like affirmations, or people want to call it the oh God. See, this is the perimenopause brain. What's the one where what you put out, you get back? The law of, help me out here. You can cut it out if you want.
Reciprocity. It's the law of
Yeah,
reciprocity.
that's not the one I'm thinking of, but yeah, sure. Like, but basically, the energy you give out is the energy you get back. That's gonna drive me crazy, Kandas.
Well, it's not the
God,
law of attraction.
that is,
It's
it is the law of attraction. Yes, it is the law of attraction.
okay.
Same thing. The law of attraction is what you put out is what you get back. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. See, it's the perimenopause, just like
See, I
the
would
thought will be right there and it just
okay.
goes poof.
Okay.
You don't think so?
Like
It is the
I
law of
well
attraction,
the
though.
well the I guess okay.
I can debate.
We
Go
could
ahead.
we could debate about the law of attraction versus the law of reciprocity. Some people say the law of reciprocity is if you do something nice for someone, they have to do something nice for you, which I
Yeah,
think
fuck
is
that.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you do something nice for someone,
you've done something.
something nice is gonna be done for you is the law of reciprocity. So I guess you're
Correct.
right. You're right. Okay.
And
I
the law of
stand
attraction
corrected.
is more about energy, right? Like the words you use become the words that you. So, for example, for years in my community, people have had yard signs that say hate has no home here. In my heart, I believe if you start with hate, you get more
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. And I
So,
actually had one of those signs in my yard.
so my yard sign says, "In this house, we believe love is love, science is real, no human is illegal," that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, I take that very seriously because of the neuroscience that backs it up, because of the science that says what you put out is what you get back.
Yeah.
And I'm very thoughtful about that choice. So gratitude is cool because it works, really, really works. So my gratitude practice, I am admittedly, I'm an author. I have an English degree. I like to write. I am a terrible journaler.
Mhm.
And it's because I don't like I don't really like structured routine. And I really think that is, and I also have this is always, it's actually even shameful to admit, and I try not to do anything that revolves around shame, but I have terrible handwriting. And when I see my handwriting, it makes me feel a certain way. I'm gonna have to get one of my subconscious reprogramming pals to, like, program that out of me because I'm 51 and I need to be done with that now. It's time to let that go. But
I in my opinion, I also have terrible handwriting, and whenever anybody looks at it and says, "Oh, wow, you have really nice handwriting," I'm like I'm like, "I can barely read it."
no one has ever said that to me. In fact, in my early 20s, I had a job and the boss was like, "What is this? Nobody
Yeah,
can read this." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
yeah.
Anyway, so my gratitude practice started as, it started with an accountability buddy, and we would text each other back and forth what we were grateful for and why. And the and why is
That is
important.
brilliant.
Yeah, you can do it so many ways. The and why is important because it shows you how it's repeatable. You want more of this, now you know, here's why this matters and it's worth doing again. It shows you, all of that pathway. So it started as that. Um, I would use it anytime I felt a bit of a stress come on. I trained myself to pause and take a breath and look around me and find 5 things that I was grateful for and why. So if I were to do that right now, I'm super grateful for technology because it's allowing me to have this conversation with you. I'm really grateful for this sweet little plant that I got when I was in Chinatown with my daughter, and I keep it right on my desk and it reminds me of that moment and I can keep it alive, and that's cool. And I'm so grateful that I have fresh running water and access to it all the time. That's incredible. And I'm grateful for the big energy Sagittarius candle my partner gave me because I love candles. And, like I can do that anytime, anywhere I am. Something you can touch, taste, smell, or hear helps too, because it shifts you out of one state of being immediately. Your
Mhm.
brain, and again, I learned this in my positive psychology certification, your brain cannot hold negative and positive thoughts at the same time. And if you
Yeah,
guys don't believe me, try it.
yeah,
You
try it.
cannot do it, right? And so you can shift. You shift the energy, and it's game changing.
So, I also am not a journaler because it just doesn't work for me. For years, people have told me, "You should journal, you should journal, you should," and for years, people told me I should write my book, and I'm like,
Well, I
as
mean,
much
you
as I
should
hate
write your
journaling,
book.
and then you ask me to write a book?
You really should write your book, Candace. Just talk it. Talk it out into and transcribe it.
You just heard me tell you the story about this necklace
Yes.
and told me that I was ADHDing, so
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm right there with you. So, yeah.
however, my gratitude practice is every night because I'm a cancer patient. Oh, shoot, before I forget, I wanna go back to the brain MRI, so let's not forget that,
Okay, let's not forget
okay?
it.
Okay, so because I'm a cancer patient, I have this whole thing of pills I take every night, right? And when I'm taking my pills, I am also doing my gratitude
I
moment.
love that.
So I'm thinking about 3 things I'm grateful for. I'm being thankful for my body and taking deep breaths, counting out my
Mm,
pills slowly, making sure I'm taking all of them correctly,
yeah.
and drinking like half a bottle of water with them to make sure that I'm hydrating my body. So I have this whole practice that I do every night before I go to
Yeah.
bed. So, mine just happens to be around the fact that I'm taking pills, but the pills remind me to do the practice.
Yep. It's called habit stacking. And I do it with my vitamins and supplements in the morning. I keep them by my coffee mug. So I know I'm going to pull my coffee mug down and I pull my vitamins down and they're on my counter. So if later in the day I see them on the counter, I can't take them right away because I can't take them on an empty stomach. But I put them on the counter. If I see them on the counter, it tells my brain, oh, you haven't taken them yet. And then when I take them, I put them back up by the coffee mugs. Habit stacking is brilliant, by the way. It's a brilliant um, life hack in general. Gratitude, do you speak it out loud or do you just think
No,
it in your mind?
no, it's all in my head.
I would like to invite you to speak it out loud
Hmm.
because they did teach us the science behind it. It has to come out of your mind. Not that you're going to hurt yourself by thinking grateful things. You're, of course, not. But there is something that shifts when it comes out, whether you're handwriting it or you're typing it or you're speaking it. When it comes out of your brain and exists in the world, that's an energy shift.
Yeah. Okay. I can do that. It's gonna
And
take a bit.
sometimes,
It's gonna take a bit of reminding myself,
yeah,
but it also there is something about speaking
yeah,
because if you're,
you birth it.
yeah, you're letting it out. Okay, back to the MRI.
Okay, the MRI.
So I had a brain MRI last year because I've been getting these headaches, and when you're a
Uh,
cancer patient, the first thing they do is let's MRI it to make sure it's
yeah,
not a spread, right? So when I get to this, I hadn't had a brain MRI since I was first diagnosed, because when you're first diagnosed, they give you the whole workup,
sure.
and then so it's been 12 years. So it's been a while since I'd had a brain MRI, and I couldn't remember the process, right? And MRIs are loud.
I have not
S
had one, but I've heard.
so they asked me what kind of music I wanna listen to. And, music changes your brainwaves as well.
100%.
So now that you have said this, I'm wondering if the music affects the results.
Oh, that's interesting. And I would be like, you should listen to a subliminal audio while you're doing it. Let them play something that's got healthy affirmations. I am healthy, I am strong, I am safe, like whatever, right? For
Yeah.
patients. Like that would be so cool because that's one of the things I create for my clients is custom subliminal audios and they work really well.
Well, when I was doing radiation therapy every day, I would do,
I'm glad it's not just me.
hold on. I would do the loving kindness
Yeah,
meditation
that's a good one.
throughout the, and
Mhm.
because radiation therapy, the setup is a long time. I mean, you're there for like half an hour, but the actual radiation lasts 5 minutes, right?
Right.
So I would do the loving kindness meditation
Love that.
throughout the whole thing, and I would also imagine that um, George Clooney was the machine, because uh,
Mhm.
the radiation machine makes clicking sounds.
Oh, there you go.
MRIs are very loud. It sounds like you're in an airplane and you're about to crash, but a radiation machine makes little kissing sounds. So, yes, George Clooney was kissing me as I was doing the loving
I love
kindness
that.
meditation while I was having my radiation
I love
therapy.
that.
So yes. Okay, so maybe I am a little woo.
The thing is, the mind is a really, really powerful tool. Now, where I like to bring in the NLP stuff is if our mindset alone was enough to get us where we wanted to go, we'd already be there by now. So the NLP work is subconscious work because 95% of our actions and behaviors come from our subconscious. We are not even aware of how we're doing most things. It's just 5% of our conscious behavior that we're aware of, right? And so when I'm working with clients, we figure out like what are those underlying beliefs and stories and emotions and feelings that even though you can logically think that's not true, it still dictates sort of how you move. And it we create barriers for ourselves with that. And so then I have these tools to shift it. And I will always use gratitude. Always, always, because it's a quick shift. But then we'll do hypnosis or time techniques, which is where we can release negative thoughts, patterns, beliefs, emotions, or plant goals on your future timeline. It's just really fucking cool. Even EFT. I did EFT tapping with a client a couple days ago, very stressed about one situation. We did one round of tapping, and I could physically see on her face that she had the moment it unlocked and it sort of disappeared from her subconscious, I could see it on her face, which is so cool.
Can I tell you an EFT story?
Yeah,
Or
of course.
finish your story, and then I'll
Well, I
tell
was
you
gonna
mine.
say this works for me with gratitude too. I have one client who I just love. I just love her, but she comes in and she immediately tells me all the awful things everybody's done to her in the week since I talked to her last.
Oh,
And I let her because she needs to get it off her chest. And then I say, "And so what has worked? Who has met your expectations this week? What's been good?" And at first she would say, "Well, I don't need to fix that. Like, I don't why do I need to talk about that? I don't need to fix that." I said, "Just humor me." So then she would tell me, and you know what would happen? Her shoulders would relax, her breathing would steady, and then I would say, "Okay, now let's go back to those problems you came in with in the first place. What kinds of solutions could we try?" And all of a sudden, her mind is open to problem solving instead of being stuck in that everybody's out to get me and nothing ever works for me space. And it happens in the matter of a couple of minutes.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, 2 things there. First of all, my brain's fine. I didn't clarify that just in case anyone's in the audience is going, What's wrong with
What's
your
going on
brain?"
with
Right?
Candace's MR? I
Yeah,
assumed
my
you
brain's
maybe wouldn't have shared it if you weren't fine, but I don't know.
The second thing is, there's 3 things. The second thing is when you talked about your shoulders releasing.
Yeah.
So it turns out that my headaches that I get are related to stress.
Ah.
They're stress
Mhm.
headaches,
Mhm.
and I get this tension in my shoulders. And really, when I consciously realize, oh, and I just
Mm.
relax into them and I
Mhm.
pull them down, like, oh, okay, you don't have to have a headache, Candace. You can fix this,
You
right?
don't have to have a headache.
That's
Yeah.
right. I don't have to have a headache. Okay. So those 2 things. And then third is many years ago I was a member of Toastmasters. Do you know what Toastmasters
I
is?
do.
Okay. So
Uh-huh.
Toastmasters is a public speaking club where you learn how to be a better speaker and a better leader. So one of my club members, Lois, who happens to be we became good friends. Um I was there supporting her as she was competing for division champion for a speech.
Mhm.
And so Lois and many of the other members of my chapter did tapping together. They had this tapping where they would just go, they tap, right? They would just tap together. They
'Cause it
get together.
works.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I never participated.
It's okay.
Is this the spot right here?
This is the karate chop point is the release spot. This is where, like, if you were a Toastmasters, you would go, "Even though I'm really nervous about getting up there and giving this speech, I know I'm gonna do a great job, even though it terrifies me," that kind of thing. And then you do the positive as you tap through the points.
So all through her speech, everyone at her table was doing this.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
she won.
I love that. I love
And
it. Manifestation, baby.
I don't know. I mean,
So EFT tapping, you tap on all of the different meridian points. So this is the release point, the karate chop. You can do either hand. Then you have the inner eyebrow, which again, you can do one side, the other, or both. The outer eyebrow, under the eye, under the nose, under the mouth, the collarbone. So you find your collarbone and go to the soft spot below. And I like to do it with 2 hands, but some people will do it with one. Then you do under your arm, and you could do one or the other or a bear hug and do both. And then
so
the
you're
top of
kind
your
of
head.
getting the lymphatic drainage
You
too.
are. Yep, and those are the meridian points, which is why all of these body parts work together. And what you're basically doing, so it's EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. You're basically opening up those neural pathways for new programming.
Mm, okay.
And and it works. And like it's neuroscience. And that's crazy. And one of my favorite things here in Chicago and some of the inner city schools, they have started doing EFT tapping for the kids in detention.
I love that.
Me too, right? Because how do we create global shift if we don't teach people how to regulate themselves?
Yeah. And that's a physical activity. I
It's
mean,
physical.
it's in because when I was in 6th and 7th grade, I was part of the GATE program in the Washington School District. I lived in Washington State. So GATE is the gifted and talented program,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
So, the 20 kids in the program all learned how to meditate. Imagine if everybody in our class learned how to
Imagine
meditate.
if.
Yeah. But meditation is not physical. You're supposed to just lay there. And
It's hard.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but sitting still is hard for me.
Yep. I really had to work hard to train myself to meditate, and EFT tapping meditations have always been my favorite, but they were certainly my gateway because you're moving and because I don't have to be still and because it's guided. So with regular meditation, and when you're regularly meditating, you're not supposed to not have thoughts. You're just supposed to acknowledge your thoughts and then release them, right? People get that confused. They think they're supposed to have a clear mind, and that's not really possible. But because it's guided with EFT tapping, I focus on what it is I'm supposed to be saying. Now,
Oh, there's
since
words involved in the
there's words
tapping.
involved in
Okay.
EFT tapping. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's always words involved. I mean, you could just tap in the points and it would probably do something. But yeah, you release negative thoughts or beliefs and then you pattern them on. I'm a great public speaker. People love to hear me speak. I know I'm going to win this competition because I put my heart and soul into it. Like, whatever, right? You go through all those points and it does work. Even if somebody just says, all they say at all the points is, no matter what happens, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. It'll create some massive shift. So anytime I recommend it to clients all the time who are in stressful situations or in a tough meeting, like go to the bathroom.
Could you repeat those words again?
Yeah. No matter what happens, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself.
Listener, rewind and listen to that again. Okay.
And then if you want to tap with me, you can book a mind shift session. Like this is what we do, right? A subconscious shift session. I customize EFT for people. I offer the recordings, custom hypnosis, all of that. But to bring it back to gratitude, I close every private coaching session by asking my clients, and this really sends them over the edge, to list 10 things they're grateful for and why. And they go, 10 things? And I say, yeah, if you can't come up with 10 things you're grateful for and why, you have bigger problems than you walked in the door with. And they always inevitably start big. Well, I'm glad I have a job. I'm glad I have a house. I'm glad I have a car. I'm glad I'm healthy. I'm glad my kids are healthy. And I said, okay, give me 10 reasons you're glad you have your job. What? Well, I love my coworkers and I get to make a difference in people's lives and having that paycheck every month, right? You want to narrow down with your gratitude. You want to get as micro with it as possible, which actually is one of the reasons I created these journals. So Shift Your Focus, which is my gratitude journal for adults. And it's not just for entrepreneurs at all, but I did kind of have leaders and entrepreneurs in mind. First, there's a little tiny mini novella that tells my story of how I fell into this work and why it's so powerful for me. And then I interviewed a ton of leaders and I pulled quotes from famous people. So there's quotes all the way throughout about what gratitude means to people because I think I'm a quote whore. I don't know what else to say. But because I don't like to journal, a blank page is always going to shut me down. So there are static questions. List 5 things, 3 to 5 things you're grateful for and why. There are several. I haven't looked at this book in a long time. There are several static questions, but then there's a unique question. There are 180 different unique questions that would help you connect with gratitude in unexpected ways. I know one of them is, what ice cream flavor are you grateful for? Like, they're all different, right? Because I want to show people how gratitude can be deeply ingrained
I
in
immediately
everything you
answered
do.
that question in my head.
What's the answer?
Pistachio.
Well, there you go. Of course. Yeah, right? So you could flip through and then when I created it, people were asking me like, "Can I do this with my kids?" And I said, "Sure, but what if I made one for kids and families?" So then I interviewed or I had parents interview or record what their kids thought gratitude meant and what that experience was like. So instead of leader quotes, I have kids quotes from age 2 to 18
Oh.
all throughout Grow Grateful. And when in this process, I love this story so much. One of my good friends, then 11-year-old daughter, said, "Well, do you mean the gratitude I give out or the gratitude I receive? Like, aren't those things different? My expressive gratitude, Candace, thank you so much for having me on your show. I am so grateful to be here. Versus, I am really grateful that somebody cares to listen to what I have to say. They're different.
Yeah, they are.
And your motivation for them is different. And I was like, man, kids are so fucking smart.
Yeah.
Right. So I share that story. I had one parent whose daughter was like 4 or 5 at the time. She was in daycare with my daughter, and she drew a picture of what she was grateful for, and the mom let me put the picture in the book, and so it shifts, right? And there's yeah, you can do this. Buy one for every kid in your family. Do it before bed. Do it at dinner time. You can lay this foundation of the power, like the actual scientific power of being empowered in your life through gratitude at any stage and at any age. And the way I always did it when my kids were young was at the dinner table. Okay, we would go around. What's something you're grateful for? And my kids fucking hated it. They hated it so much. And they would be like, why do we still have to do this? But you know what? Now that they're all older, I hear them out in public talking about the things they're grateful for. And they can recognize what it does is it shows us that it's not gonna be bad all the time. And that
Mhm.
even when it is bad, there's a lesson or there's an opportunity or there's a thing. And now I use the word joy instead because I think that they're somewhat they can they can they can be interchanged on occasion. What brought you joy today? Because of course
Yeah.
you're grateful for what brought you joy,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the difference between gratitude and appreciation.
Ooh. All right. Well, what do you think the difference is?
Gratitude is a feeling and appreciation is an action.
Okay. I can get behind that. Um, and you can be I think a person can be appreciative without being grateful.
Mhm.
So for example, I don't really like being told what to do ever. But somebody could give me advice that I appreciate them giving me, but I
Mm.
don't want it.
Yeah. Appreciation also means grow. When something appreciates, it's
That's
growing.
true.
Um,
And gratitude, that's interesting because you can be grateful and there could be growth, but it's not conditional like that.
mm, mhm. Yeah, and there really isn't, because appreciation has two distinct meanings that
It
are the
does.
same.
Yeah.
Gratitude has one meaning. It is what it is.
Well, and I remember this is funny. Many, many years ago, I got into a Twitter fight with Glennon Doyle, no less,
Oh.
who I have feelings about, and we don't have to get into that. But she's not my favorite. But in this moment, I really appreciate. So she had released an article that said, "Ditch the gratitude," and but I don't know if anybody remembers this or not, but that was really just sort of the clickbait headline that the journalist had ended up using. What she meant was ditch the forced gratitude, the sort of like religious underlying of you have to be grateful for everything all the time and you're not allowed to leave room for what's icky,
Yeah.
which we got there. But I was pissed because at the time I was releasing these journals and I was on stages and doing workshops about gratitude, and I was like, "Who fucking what why would she do this? Like, this is damaging to people." So I put a tweet out. I was like, "This is bullshit. Like, don't listen to Glennon Doyle. Listen to these other epic queens who tell you." And I have complicated feelings about Oprah right now, but I saw Oprah speak at a conference in 2019. I think it was 20, it might have been 2018. And she said, "You might think that that I get to be grateful because I have what I have, but I'm telling you I have what I have because I chose to be grateful."
Mhm.
Right? And I'll
Yeah.
never forget that.
Yeah.
She's like,
I
"It leads with
completely agree with
everything.
her on that.
Everything leads from me choosing to be grateful for that which is already in existence." And I believe
Mhm.
that with my whole heart. So
Mhm.
anyway, Glennon Doyle like tweeted me back. She was like fucking pissed at me. "You don't even know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah." And so we went back and forth a couple times. And then I said, "Do you have any idea what it's like to just be a regular person that challenges somebody with a platform like you have?" And she came back and she said, Heather, you're right. I think you're really brave. I appreciate you having this conversation with me. Here's a picture of me and my wife saying hi. And she like took a selfie like in the moment of her and Abby. And I have all the screenshots and it was amazing, right? We get into this big debate on what gratitude really is and why it matters. And I don't even remember why I started telling that story, but I like that story.
It's a good story, and you know what? Didn't even know who she was until she left Substack because of Substack not appreciating that she had joined the platform. I didn't even know who she was, and
Oh,
regardless of what you think of someone, everyone has a right to exist.
of course they do.
I tell that to my cats all the time because they
Yes.
fight with each other. I'm like, Nix, Luna has a right to exist.
Yeah.
Luna, Nix has a right to exist, right? We all have a right to exist. And I thought it left a bad taste in my mouth because I had just joined Substack.
Yeah.
So it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I think Substack is and I know that you're very active on Substack. I think it's a great platform. I just couldn't get into it.
I understand.
And I wonder how
That's
much
okay.
of that has to do with the fact that that whole Glennon Doyle controversy was going on when I joined.
Maybe. I had feelings about that too. Everyone has the right to exist and whatever. But she was also kind of a big baby about the whole thing. Like she did come in swinging. Everything was paywalled, and people are sensitive about that on Substack.
Yeah.
Like, why are you going to make everybody have to pay to get access to what you're sharing? Not that she didn't have the right to do it. She certainly did. But I just kind of felt like that is my sorry, folks. If you are a Glennon Doyle fan, I really loved Untamed. It was one of my favorite books. It's her coming out story. I came out at the age of 38. Like it was great. But I think, oh boy, you can cut this out if you want to, or you can tell me to shut up. I think she is problematic because I think she feeds into the patriarchal standards. She is known for being whiny and babyish with a little bit of that fundy baby voice to get her way and get her attention. And it grosses me out.
And you are entitled to your opinion. And so are you, listener. So if you don't agree with Heather,
There you go.
you're be open-minded.
There you go.
One other thing, I said I'm a pragmatic woo.
Yep. Yep.
I'm open-minded.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do I think all this stuff works? Maybe. I don't know.
But it doesn't hurt.
But it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. All right, it's time to wrap up. Is there anything that you have not talked about that you are dying to mention?
Goodness. I don't think so. This has been so much fun. I will just say, and if you're listening to this show, you're probably already doing it, but get grateful, man. Like bring it into every possible way, but do it honestly. Don't force it. You don't have to be grateful for your challenges, even though you might find a lesson. You could be grateful for the lesson, but not the challenge, right? Don't make it toxic, but get grateful because it will shift you physically, neurologically, emotionally. And if you don't do anything else, that will change your life. And if you want to journal, you can grab one.
There'll be a link in the show notes. So, Heather, you are the co-host of one of my absolutely favorite podcasts.
Thank you.
The premise of this show, just quickly, in 30 seconds, talk about Was It Chance?
Was It Chance is the podcast about taking intentional risk for creative success. And it came about, I met my now bestie, Alan, at a podcasting conference. And I said, I have this idea for a show. He said, yeah, let's do it. And so he is the founder of the Broadway Podcast Network. So we started with mostly Broadway people, but we really define creative broadly because it is, right? And it's really kind of a manifestation-ish sort of thing. Like, how did you get here? How do you create the life that you want? And what are those lessons? And what risks do you take to get you here? And all of that fun stuff. And we just have a fucking blast.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun to listen to, and you have an unconventional setup. Your podcast is just a lot of fun, and that's why I enjoy it. And the stories are inspirational, because nothing is ever chance. Everything is intentional. You just have to put yourself in the right place. If you're in the right place,
but sometimes you're in the right place and you don't know it, so you take the chance because you're like, I didn't even mean to be at this coffee shop today. Like I wasn't supposed to be here, but here I am. And then I'm going to talk to this person, right? It's all about embracing what's presented to you.
But what I love about this story about Was It Chance is that you and Alan did not know each other, and then you started a podcast together.
We did.
So you got to know each other by co-hosting a show.
We did. But we were instant within an hour, I was like, "Did we just become best friends?" And he was like, "Yeah." And that was that. Like, he is my platonic soulmate for sure. But we have fun, and I wanna give you some credit. You, along with a couple of other people that we know, said, "Your guests are great. We like those stories, but we come for you guys, so give us more." And I hope that you feel like we have been more. We've added in a lot more of that pre-open banter, and sometimes we talk about the most random shit. So I hope you guys like it.
That is why we listen.
I love that. Thank
That
you.
is why we listen. And I hope you, listener, are getting what you are listening for from this conversation. All right, Heather Vickery, this is your moment of gratitude. For whom or what are you most grateful?
Oh my gosh. You know what? Right now, I'm about to get a new tattoo that says, J'accepte la grande adventure d'être moi. I embrace the grand adventure of being me. And I am grateful for every ridiculous step and action that I have taken that has allowed me to accept myself just as I am, fully and completely, and with joy.
Thanks for tuning in to Gratitude Geek, the podcast for grateful solopreneurs. Shit, I did this wrong. Okay. Thanks for tuning in to Gratitude Geek, the podcast for women solopreneurs over 40 who weave gratitude into your business strategy. I've been your host. No.
I've been your host, but I'm not anymore.
Our theme music is by Rev Brock and Soul Lily. I've been your host, Kandas Rodarte. Stay groovy, my friends.
Stay groovy, my friends.